Hey, I'm Suzanna Lanier, actor and acting coach for over 25 years.
I'm Jess Greenberg, casting director for over 10 years.
We're here to help you navigate this crazy, creative, and sometimes chaotic journey into the film and television world.
We share our insights as to what works.
And invite some pretty spectacular guests to share more ideas to move you on your journey.
So without further ado, let's get into the show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our mini-sode.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to be a day player, how to behave if you're a day player on a set. This topic came up. We have Anik Matern, acting coach and actor. She's been in the biz for over 30 years, and she talked a lot of great things. But one of the topics that came up was, how challenging it can be, especially for new artists, but for anybody really, when you enter a set and all the relationships are formed and they're all relaxed and they're in their flow and you're like the new kid on the block. And that feels, can feel challenging. So, yeah. So Jess, do you want to speak a little bit about that? What were you thinking when she was talking about that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just like okay, yeah, let's talk about it, because for people who are just starting out or who haven't sort of experienced different roles, different role types, what to expect, that is definitely something, could be useful to be aware of, if you're booked on, as a day player on a series or a film. And yeah, everyone's in their flow and you just come in and you gotta just hit your mark, hit your lines. You don't want to waste time. You want to just show up, do your job, do it well, and get out of there.
Yeah.
You don't want to take up too much space. So I feel like you had an experience like that once on set, no?
Did you? Probably. I can't even remember specific ones, but
no, but I feel like you had a story about like being a day player. I know you've booked many roles, and
mostly day players, and I've had many experiences of going on and feeling like I'm the new kid in class when everybody's talking to each other and the director, and everybody has kind of their flow, and you're like, I hope I don't mess this up, and all you want to do is hit your mark, get your lines out, and get the hell out of there, which is good and bad, which not bad. I don't want to say that, but Anik saying as an acting coach on set, she really wants to be there to support the actor so they can do their work the best that they can do their work, and to help them and to make them feel supported, because it does sometimes feel like, you're, I don't want to say cliquey, but sometimes it feels a little bit like it could feel like that just because they know each other.
For sure.
So yeah. And Anik was talking a lot about being present. Like, this is your only moment. This is, moment to moment, being present, taking in the environment and accepting it and working with it. And she's there as the acting coach when she's hired on set, which is quite often, to sort of support the actors. So that was another topic you guys are going to be hearing about being like present and having your heart in your work. She was talking also about that, the, mind and body, spirit, the whole connections. And she approaches actors as a whole being and how to work with the whole being. Because sometimes, we're given direction and feels very heady. And in order to, give our best performance, it's through our whole being, through all our senses. And so she really works with the whole being. So it's quite inspirational.
Yeah, it was a great chat. I'm excited for everyone to hear about it. And, but yeah, everything she says just makes so much sense. And maybe it could be uncomfortable for some,
right,
going a bit deeper, digging a bit deeper and feeling really connected to yourself and your body, your emotions, all of that. But I think that is what creates great performances.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also just a sort of like a tip from what we were just talking about is like going in as a day player. I think one of the key things is to like be prepared. And like, exactly your lines and the scene, the intention, and you know that, and you're comfortable with it. I think that's a huge way to sort of, fight that fear a little bit, is that you just know what you got to do.
Yeah, to lean into the work. I mean, and it can be. I mean, I've, had day player roles where I've had to, bawl my eyes out and have a very emotional scene. And that is very challenging because you do feel all this pressure and everybody sort of has this relationship and you're up in your head about it. And so you just, like Jess says, I mean, be prepared, and do your, your moment before exercises, whatever you need to do to give them the best performance that you can give at that moment.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about that, working with actors, because she works a lot, especially they unfortunately don't hire often, coaches for adults,
Yeah,
or day
exactly.
player roles.
That's what I was going to say.
Which would have been nice. I would have loved that.
It's nice to know that she's there, but also we have to work on ways to do it, or you have to work on ways to do it for yourself, because there's not always a coach there who will be so, supportive.
Giving and supportive. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's not, she's mostly there. I can say sometimes it happens in an adult, but I would say she didn't give me this percentage, but I'm going to throw it in there. 95% of the time it's when there's kids.
Yeah.
She goes to coach new kid actors. It's rarely like, I've never had a coach for me on set, which would have been really fun. I would have loved that, to sort of warm me up and make me feel comfortable and support me in my choices. We just have to go in with the attitude and the mindset. I mean, she was talking about how she prepares for her day every day with her own rituals to support her in her day. And you'll see when you listen, she's very spiritual, very about alignment and trusting your feelings and following your feeling. And it was just great. And it was just inspirational. And it actually calmed me down, because sometimes I can get quite hyper and I have a million things going in my head at once. So it was nice just to be, and you guys will hear, because you're going to listen on Thursday, you're going to be like, oh yeah, breathe. She reminds us to breathe, because we forget.
So I literally a few times I was like, wow, I feel so calm. Like, and it's like, usually like sometimes I'm like thinking of like the next question, or just mentally noting something someone said, and to, follow up on that. And here I've just found myself like, okay, well, whatever question comes to me, I will ask.
Because I will be open and
calm.
present, and it will come up. So that's it. So I guess the moral of this mini-sode is just listen on Thursday. You will get your sense of calmness, of presence, breathing.
Yeah.
And then we do touch on some acting stuff too, about being in the moment. And also she talks a lot about what it's like to coach on set, which was very interesting to see how that all experience is. And it was, and how
her improv methods too, which is huge in her training, like that's and the baseline of all of her training.
She talks a lot. Yeah. The baseline of everything is her improv training. And it's great. It's really inspirational. And I think you guys are going to like it a lot.
Yes.
Yay. Have an amazing week. And we will see you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you're enjoying this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to support us.
Leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. You can share this podcast with your friends and colleagues, and follow us on social media at Book the Room Podcast.
We put out episodes weekly, so subscribe to the shows to get notified.